Hi, I'm Richard Morby from Contech, and today I want to talk about gap and flush measurement at the end of the final assembly line in automotive manufacturing. Now, in particular, automated gap and flush measurement, but I have some questions. Which are the most difficult to measure gaps, or the gaps which are causing the most problems in final assembly? And if you're already automating gap and flush measurement in final assembly, which gaps give you the least repeatable measurements? Which ones can't you even measure at all? If your answer to either of those questions has something to do with headlamps, or tail lamps, or windows, any other transparent or semi-transparent material, or even very highly reflective material, then what would you say if I could remove all those problems and just make the measurements work? I have a solution, and it doesn't involve any expensive high-powered ultraviolet lasers. It doesn't involve any chemicals. It doesn't leave a trace of any kind on the vehicle that you're measuring. It just works every single time. It's a bit like cleaning your glasses. It's from the company NEXTSENSE in Austria, and it's called the CALIPRI CB20 with CALIBREEZE technology. Let me show you how it works. So here we have a test setup just so I can show you how this works. We can see here this is the CB20 head, and it's an extension of the CALIPRI C12 actually, so it's a twin head system with lasers coming from two sides, so it gets a reading from two sides simultaneously. Obviously there's two cameras. But anyway, it's using the CALIPRI system, so this is using 3 laser lines instead of 1. And on the left hand side, so the solid part of the test gap, we can see very clear lines here. And on the right hand side, on the transparent side, it's not so clear and it's a little bit fuzzy, and there's some reflections there too. But what happens when we use CALIBREEZE? CALIBREEZE is going to breathe on the surface here, just like when we were cleaning our glasses. Let's see what happens. So now it's rendered the transparent material completely opaque, so it's easy for CALIPRI to take its measurement. Of course, because this is just condensation, it just disappears without a trace. No harmful chemicals, no heat, because it's not steam, it's condensation. It is humid air that is being breathed, literally like you're cleaning your glasses. So let's take a look at what the cameras see. On the right hand side here we can see one of the cameras at the top, one on the bottom, and actually it doesn't look too bad. If we look at the left hand side, that's very clear, but on the right hand side we've got 3 clear strong laser lines here. So this might work even without using CALIBREEZE. But let's put the CALIBREEZE into action and see what really happens. Did you see what happened there? It wasn't the strong lines that we saw earlier on that are prominent now. After making the top surface opaque with CALIBREEZE, it's different lines which are here. Now that's really significant because it means that without CALIBREEZE, the measurement with the blue laser alone would have been completely wrong. So blue lasers are not the complete answer. We need CALIBREEZE to guarantee the measurement. Let's take a proper example of a headlamp. When we shine blue lasers on a headlamp, you get reflections and lines and refractions and all this noise. How is an algorithm supposed to make sense of that and actually determine which of these lines it's going to use to take its measurement? How can it do it? Well, that's why CALIBREEZE makes it so easy. Watch this. When we breathe on the surface, it becomes much more clear, and the top surface becomes opaque, giving us the correct laser lines so that CALIPRI can just go ahead and do its job that it's been doing for years already, making fast, repeatable, and reliable measurements. Of course, the condensation just disappears without a trace a few seconds later. So let's see what it looks like from the camera's perspective. So again, we can see these strong lines here. Do we know if they're on the top surface or not? We can't be sure. But what we can be sure of, there's a lot of noise behind here, a lot of background noise and reflections from the mirrors in the back of the optic. it's a bit of a mess, and we need to remove all of this noise so that we can take a proper measurement. So let's breathe on the surface. There we go. Now it's really clear, and Calibri can go ahead and do the job it's been doing for years already now, delivering fast, reliable, repeatable measurements. So those of you familiar with the Calipri system will recognise the fact that this has made a really easy and good scan. And the result, there we go, dead easy. So let's summarise. This is a system which doesn't use any chemicals, doesn't use any extra expensive ultraviolet lasers, doesn't leave any trace on the car at all. It just uses water, which is not particularly expensive either. It's also using the world-renowned CALIPRI system for making the measurement. Now, CALIPRI, as we know, is used with portable systems and with handheld inline systems and with robotic systems, so it can be deployed throughout the whole factory. And this offers another very interesting advantage because you can have comparative measurements throughout the factory. Any measurement you take with a CALIPRI C14 system is going to give you exactly the same results as if you measure it with a C12 or a CB20 system. Deploying CALIPRI throughout the factory will guarantee that you have good, strong measurements from body in white all the way through to final assembly. And when the vehicle is finally assembled, you can measure all of the headlamps, the tail lamps, sunroofs, glass parts as you like, automatically with CALIPRI accuracy and repeatability.